Mounce, BBG, chapter 33, sentence 8. I'm just recovering from sentence 7. Anyway, here's another long one, so get ready. I think what I'll do is go ahead and knock out this first sentence, because this sentence is so long and involved. I want to treat it separately. So tackling this first sentence, of course, and hopefully you recognize this is coming from apokrynomai. So you got a deponent thing going on. That's why you have this passive participle ending. So it's answering. You're going to translate it as an active because it's a deponent. But it's answering. Jesus says to them. And then you have this second plural from echo, right? And present active, but is it indicative or imperative? Because those are going to look the same. In this case, you have to decide, is he making a statement like, you have faith in God? Or is he telling them something like that they should do? Hey, have faith in God. If you don't know yet, you're going to see from the rest of the context that what makes most sense is to translate this as an imperative, where he's telling them, hey, have faith in God. So the sentence reads, and answering, comma, Jesus says to them, have faith in God, period. All right, then you have this long, drawn-out thing here that we need to pick apart. Obviously, the first part of it, truly I say to you, you've seen enough times that I don't need to talk about it. The hati, you're going to translate as that because it follows a verb of communication, correct? Then you have Hassan, so whoever, and anytime you have whoever, you know that the verbs in general following that are going to be subjunctives. So you can expect a string of subjunctives in this stretch, and that's what we're going to find. But beyond that, we're going to find that he's going to quote and give a couple imperatives. So this first one here is whoever, and then you have a third singular subjunctive, right? And also from apon, so that tells you that it's an aorist subjunctive, and apon coming from lego. So as the aorist form in the subjunctive, he might say, so whoever might say, or in this case it's whoever says, but the idea is it's following Hassan, so whoever might say or whoever says, that's fine, to this mountain. And what is it that whoever might say to this mountain is right here. You have two imperatives, and hopefully you recognize them as imperatives, and they're both very strange. I think the thing you look at, though, is if you know that the aorist passive imperatives all have this stretch, theta, eta, tau, you'll help yourself to recognize that as an aorist passive imperative kind of morpheme that will help you with something like this. So, the iota tells you it's second singular, but then if I pull this out, I'm left with, alpha rho, and then I'll go, boy, that's not much to go on. Hopefully that's enough to tell you that it's from iro, which is I raise up or I take up, or I take away, any of those kinds of things. So, but again, as a passive imperative, so it's sort of something like be taken up or be taken away, something like that. And then same kind of aorist passive imperative, but from if you look at this, you say, well, the only thing I know like that is balo. You'd be correct, which is I throw. But again, as an aorist passive imperative, second singular, it's something like be thrown. So be taken up and be thrown into the sea. All right. And then we'll go ahead and work through the rest of the sentence before we come back and put it all together. And does not waver, right? And he does not waver, but he might not waver, right? If we were doing it that way. But again, this is all being governed by this Hassan in the beginning, that's why you have a subjunctive here and a subjunctive here. So you're just going to translate them simply as a simple present, even though they're subjunctives in this case. So it's and does not waver in his heart, but believes that what, here's your relative pronoun, what he says, and then genetai, but it's not the same thing because it's this what he says, what, and then that what whatever it is that he says, that's what it's talking about here. So it's what he says becomes, or what he says happens, or what he says takes place, something like that. And then you have this strange third singular future from Amy, so it will be to him. All right, so going back to the beginning of that clause, we're going to go ahead and walk through that one all the way. We already did it for the first sentence. We'll do this, and then we'll do the third. So, truly I say to you that whoever might say or says to this mountain, be taken up and be thrown into the sea, and does not waver in his heart, but believes that what he says happens or takes place, it will be to him. In other words, it'll happen for him, is the expression there. So, it will be to him doesn't work very well in English, so something, you get the idea, is that's what's going to happen for him. Okay? So, then we go to the third sentence. Dia tuto, for this reason, or because of this, I say to y'all, everything, right? As much as you pray, and again, you pray is prosukomai, so another deponent. So even though you got a second plural ending, looks like it's passive, you're going to go with translating it actively and say, everything as much as you pray and you ask. And here you go. Again, it's either indicative or imperative. You got a second plural, looks like a present active indicative, right? But is he saying you believe it, or is he saying believe it? And here again in the context, the idea is he's saying, hey, believe it. Believe what? Believe that. And here you have from lambano, but in aorist you got a different stem because it's not, you're missing the mu, right? So you got the augment, you got a second plural ending. So what is he saying? He's saying believe that you received. So y'all believe that you received, and the idea is you received it, and it will be to y'all. So going back to the beginning of this one, and looking at this one as a whole, for this reason I say to you, everything as much as you pray and you ask, y'all believe that you received it, and you're going to insert the word it, of course, and it will happen for you. So, and again, this as sort of a idiomatic expression, it will be to y'all doesn't work again. So you something like it'll happen for y'all. All right.